cover those very basic needs. And I can go on and on about healthcare, but the bottom line here is that what we have in this country is really disgraceful. And that is an issue together we are going to have to work on. We must have the courage to stand up to the greed and recklessness of the insurance companies and the drug companies.
So SNAP recipients may notice a change to their monthly benefits. If lawmakers don't take action soon, that's the problem. Democrats are struggling to agree with Republicans over SNAP benefits, as some propose stricter eligibility requirements and smaller checks as well. But several states are now approving plans to provide households with extra cash every month. And now, Democrats in House and Senate are ready to play hardball to protect SNAP benefits in this year's bill, because the food program becomes caught up in broader GOP efforts to cut government spending. Democrats argued that the ending of the crisis-era SNAP increases this month too much of a cut from the average program recipient to handle, and that any additional cuts would be wrong and hurt so many people, which is definitely true. Even Democratic representatives like Jim McGovern told The Hill, if they mess around with SNAP benefits, there will be no farm bill. McGovern is a member of the House Agricultural Committee, responsible for the Farm Bill and co-chairman of the House Hunger Caucus. Food assistance programs make about 3/4 of the must-pass Farm Bill's expenditures, which must be reconsidered and approved every 5 years, along with subsidies for farmers and conservation program. And so this year's debate over SNAP benefits is setting the stage for a fight, much like the one that accompanied the 2018 Farm Bill, when Republicans insisted on increasing work requirements to receive SNAP benefits. Democrats resisted, and the bill was a group of people who are suddenly unable to afford basic nutrition. Representatives said the reality is that we have a hunger problem in this country, and the SNAP benefit is to begin is not even adequate enough. The idea somehow is that overly generous benefits are going to shrink even more is just a wrong thing to do to the people who are struggling. And so benefits went up by 22.5% in 2021 due to an update from the Thrifty Food Plan, which is the Department of Agriculture's formula for how much food costs. Current SNAP benefits provide recipients with about $6 per day per person to pay for groceries and other food expenses. The Thrifty Food Plan is the lowest level of the 4 food plans that the USDA publishes, with each level of the plan approximating the cost of a more complete diet. The Food Research and Action Center and some Democrats have advocated for using the most expensive, low-cost plan to calculate SNAP benefits instead of a thrifty level. Representative Adams and Kirsten Gillibrand introduced a bill in Congress just to do that. While many Democrats are advocating for expanding SNAP, either by extending crisis-era benefits permanently or changing food plan benefits are tied to, it seems unlikely given GOP control of the House and a narrowly divided Senate.
In classrooms with broken chairs, flooded buildings, and inadequate staff support. And we're living in a country where many thousands of our teachers, and they are truly heroes and heroines, are inadequately paid as they do the best they can for the children of America. We're living in a country where hundreds of thousands of bright young people who have the desire to get a higher education, they can't do that, because the cost of college and trade schools are very expensive and their families lack the money in order to pay those tuitions. And meanwhile, we have 45 million Americans who are now struggling with student debt. I'm thinking about a country today which has a wildly dysfunctional child care system. And any of you who have little kids, you know this. It costs on average over $15,000 a year to get a kid into a child care facility if you are lucky enough to find that slot available, because there are many parts of this country where it's very, very hard to find affordable, quality child care. So this issue of child care or pre-K is a major issue that we have got to work on, because these little kids are the future of our country, and we cannot continue to treat them and their parents the way we currently do. So yes, overall, we have got to work towards creating the best educated workforce in the world, one that
to $1,827 per month starting in January. Now, most people think of Social Security as a program for older Americans, and it's true that most of the roughly 70 million recipients in the program are 62 or older. But this program also helps millions of disabled workers, children, widows, and widowers. In fact, there are 9 million disabled workers on it, another 6 million children, widows, and widowers. So this means that a broad range of Americans will actually be helped by this cost of living adjustment starting in January.
So checks will be arriving this holiday season. The lawmakers are planning to send down more inflation checks, and there is a relief check proposal that would give more help to those in need. So, stimulus checks have had a profound impact on millions of people's lives, and they may continue to affect the size of your bank during the end of this year, and even into 2023, folks. So, each state has different guidelines in its inflation checks. Some states are offering tax rebates, others are sending out direct checks that range from $50 to even $1,000. Now, states were given $195 billion, everybody. $195 billion to give their citizens a stimulus check as well. Some states are offering tax rebates while others are giving you $50 checks and even $1,000 stimulus payments. States were given this money to help the people in need. Some states like Colorado, Maryland, and New Mexico are giving checks to people who make less than a certain amount of money or who are on unemployment. Other states like Florida, Georgia, and Michigan and Texas are putting the money toward $1,000 bonuses for teachers. Two Maine state senators are opposing to change the governor's Emergency Energy Assistance Bill to benefit those who need it the most. Senator Rick Bennett and Senator Nicole told reporters that they've been working together on this bill to help the low income. And Bennett, a former Senate president who was one of the 8 to vote against the bill, said he feels strongly that the public should have a chance to weigh in before the legislature spends close to $500 million. The original bill called for $450 checks to be sent to 92% of Maine adults and set income limits at $100,000 and $200,000 for couples. That program is projected to cost nearly $400 million. So Bennett and Grohowski are proposing to send checks of varying amounts to 41% of Maine adults based on your income limit. That's up to $60,000, and the system would make payments as high as $800 for couples making $20,000 or less a year. $400 to couples that are making between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. The cost of the program would be around $200 million. So Bennett and people are proposing to keep other parts of the bill still in the stimulus program, including $40 million in supplemental funding for the low-income heating assistance program and $20 million to support emergency housing and shelters. They're proposing to increase from $10 million to $15 million in emergency heating assistance funds. Janet Yellen is even striking a cautiously optimistic tone about 2023, predicting a major inflation cooldown and stressing that a recession isn't required to get prices back under control. During an interview, Janet Yellen said, "I believe by the end of next year, you will see much lower inflation if there's not an anticipated shock." Yellen cited plunging gas prices and said on Monday that the national average is down by 52 cents a gallon. In the past month, that's a lot. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to deliver a 7th straight interest rate hike on Wednesday, though investors are betting the central bank will slow the pace of rate increases from 3/4 to a half percentage point. We don't know the Fed's aggressive rate hikes have been driving up